off intro.
Clap, boom. Like it.
Welcome to the Ride with Purpose podcast. Today I am joined by Wolfi, who is, I would say, the father of cycling in the Middle East.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can you tell me, for those who haven't listened to previous podcasts or
Yes.
heard about you, can you tell me just like a very brief synopsis about how you came from running a very small little bike shop in Germany to
Yes.
this amazing thing that
Thank
you've
you.
built?
Thank you very much. Listen, I started in hospitality. I made an apprenticeship as a hotel Fachmann, covering everything in a hotel. Then I made a second apprentice as a chef, so I learned how to cook.
That's a skill.
And I think that's a skill. And it learns, you know, the skill there you learn is about making the small things count and really preparing a dish and being really obsessed about something to finish it. We were cooking at a very high level, at 1-star Michelin, which is quite
wow.
of a high level in Germany. I'm from the Black Forest in Germany. And during my first apprenticeship, which I was really focused on customer experience and customer service and hospitality, we started to rent bikes to our hotel guests. And this is how I started with the bicycle.
Was that like an activity for the
Activity,
hotel
correct,
guests? Nice.
correct. Activity for the hotel guests. And was in the beautiful Black Forest in Germany. Beautiful place to ride your bike, close to Switzerland, close to France. So really a
Gorgeous
perfect place.
mountains and
Fantastic. And this is when I started to cycle. And then I kind of saw what happens when people cycle. I saw the opportunity to have a bit of a side hustle. I asked my director, can I take the bikes and bring them to my hometown? My brother had a car repair, and that's really how it started. And we had this side hustle ever since. And this is when I was started 16, 17. I couldn't really make a trade license. I needed to turn 18 in Germany to open a business.
Really?
So
Okay.
I think it's now out of things. So it's maybe it wasn't maybe legal at that time, but it was fine. Yeah, so I think it's too many years ago.
Yeah, right?
It's like over 30. Oh, no, it's 40 years almost
Really?
ago. Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, I just fell in love with cycling, and I was kind of the bicycle guy for this little village in Germany.
You became known as the guy
Yes,
for bikes.
and I had a little car then, drove around, collected bikes, and repaired them, and so started to trade with bicycles, but always had a work. My main job was then as a chef. I was in the army, and then I kind of unfortunately lost my job when I was working in the hospital because there was a reform of the healthcare system. But kind of a good thing, it pushed me into making a decision to say, listen, do you really want to do this? And then I thought, you know what, I give it a try.
Right.
I never looked back and always appreciated that this was a, sometimes you come maybe in life, you get to tough situations, and at the time you can't really see the benefit, but you know
don't
what,
see the good.
Everything will be good at the end, and if it's not good yet, then it's not the end.
Right. I like that.
Yes.
So you really forced into entrepreneurship in a
Yes.
way.
Yes.
What started as a side hustle became the main thing.
Yes, and I was kind of ready. I know, man, I always felt like I want to do something on my own, and I always liked to make my own decisions. I always liked when I had a task at hand and I could do it. And then my brother lived in Dubai, and we were on vacation, 1999, 2000, 2001.
Before, there wasn't much built here back then, right?
No, it was like, and you know, honestly, looking back, I think it was kind of a bit of a crazy idea.
Really?
Yeah, there was nobody cycling. Yeah, and there was a cycling federation, but the sport was not developed worldwide. The sport wasn't as developed. We thought we could come here, open a business. We had different products. We had a swim vest, a support. We had a product which was an aluminium water bottle, which we wanted to distribute, SIGG. It's a Swiss water bottle, and we wanted to distribute this product. And we had bicycles.
Right.
At the end, one of the three ideas that stick well, and and it took a few years. I would think it took a good 10 years of simply speaking to people to introduce the bicycle business, introduce them that we are able to repair a bike, that we had the opportunity to ship goods from Germany in small quantities, like you needed this tube, another one needed this cable, a helmet, a pair of shoes.
You were shipping everything from Germany?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, because the quantities were so small, so it was very challenging for us to bring these products to the UAE. And but we had an advantage that we could get bikes back to life, resuscitate them, because they were in the garden and people were missing some parts, and we were technically advanced, so we could fix them. And then suddenly there was another person on a bike on the road. And then there was another one and another one and another one. And so it really was word of mouth. There was no much internet. There was no Instagram. There was no Facebook really.
No social media.
It's 2002, yeah.
Wow.
And but the community grew. It grew slowly. We had always our Sunday rides. And that time it was the Friday ride. And we had Sunday and Tuesday we did an evening ride. with our customers. And these rides, at the beginning, we were 2, 3 guys and riding, and then it was
really
like
built
5
up.
and then 10. And now it's hundreds of people joining on the rides. But it was always important for us to build a community. And I think that's really something which we added for people. A lot of people come to the UE and come with a job, work a lot. And we gave them another reason to stay. And for a lot of people, it was really important. And at the beginning, we didn't really see the community. It was kind of important for us, but we didn't really see the impact we have on people. Yeah, and maybe similar. I listened to the story of Rafa when they said, "Hey, we had the cycling community, and suddenly we built these coffee shops, and we built these outside club communities." Yeah, before cycling was obviously all these clubs, and it was a bit stiff. But now we said, "Hey, we're a group of guys. We want to ride our bikes." And for a lot of people, this was really nice to be part of a group and make these friendships. And I have now so many friends, and I know from so many friendships groups which have built from cycling.
Yeah, it's such a social sport.
Yes, it's amazing.
Even this morning as I was riding, I was just on my way back home, and another guy passes me. I'm like, huh. And so I try to catch up with him, and then we get connected.
Yes.
And that's just like a way to build a connection.
Yes. With even people coming to the store, and I remember one lady came to the store and she said, "Oh, who's Wolfi?" And I said, "Oh, it's me." And "Okay, how can I help?" And she said, "Listen, I just want to come in and say, you saved our marriage."
Wow.
And I was like, "Okay, now you have my attention. Tell me more." And she said, "No, listen, we came years ago. We came to Dubai. My husband was very busy, working a lot, really stressed at work, started to eat too much, here and there, a little bit too much, being out, drinking."
And then he bought a bike
really,
one day.
Really, our relationship really went pear shape, yeah, and now he got this bicycle a couple of months ago, and he's a different person. He loves it, and whenever he's coming stressed from work, he said, "Go on your bike, come back in 2 hours. You're a better person, and we are together again." And I just want to come in and say thank you. And I said, "Listen, so marriage counseling is now on my business card." No, but it's beautiful. I mean, we celebrate our 20th anniversary, and then you kind of reflect. And I said to the team, "You know what, guys? I think we have." A bicycle shop is something really important for a community, yeah.
Right.
For kids, learning them how to ride a bike. We have now the
Kids Academy programs, right?
Yes, which is very important. But from kids to teenagers to adults to elderly people, to get them out.
And in every level too, beginners and elites. I'm seeing everything is involved.
So it's physically, mentally, community, environmental friendly. It's so many ticks for a bicycle shop. And I think this is really important, and it's really as well a mission that everybody understands. Listen, support your local bike shop.
Right.
This is important. Wherever you have that small little bike shop who repairs the grandma's bike, the kid's bike, fixes his puncture, adjusts your gears, please give him the business, show him some love, because they're important to create something. And learning how to ride a bike and having the opportunity to be looked after from a bicycle shop is really, really important. I think it's an important part of a community.
Do you think that you would be here today if you didn't have support from other people?
Yes, you need support of other people. I mean, you can nothing. It's like a bicycle ride. Yeah, you can go as far on a bicycle ride when you go alone. But you know, life is a lot like a bike ride. Yeah. And it's first of all, it's way more enjoyable riding in a group. You can have a chat and you can exchange.
And you can rest
things.
when you need to. And
yes. But no, you cannot. And it's way more enjoyable to have a journey. First of all, my wife and my daughter, who I have sometimes to apologize for all the hours I spent extra at work, but I think we always felt that it was a family business, and they understood how important it is for me. They understood as well. They saw the benefit of what we bring to the community, and this is important, especially for me as a man. I think it's very important to bring something and be remembered one day. And if you I'm now 54, and you think about, how do you want to be remembered one day? And you want to be remembered, and I'm lucky that I'm in this position, that I maybe be remembered as one of the people who developed cycling in the UE with the leadership. You know, I mean, the leadership was so important. Building the cycle track, building Meydan, building Al Watba, building Hudayria, building the UE cycling team and UE Team Emirates, Team ADQ, supporting all of this.
You were there every step of the way.
Other people, we were here in the country, but a lot of people put a lot of effort and a lot of their heart and soul into these projects, and I'm grateful to be part of this group, and being part of the vision of the leadership is fantastic.
Question for you. So you've obviously been in entrepreneurship for quite a while now. It's been, 20-something years. Was there ever a moment where you felt like this is rock bottom? Like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this.
Yes, and I think it was the crisis 2008 when the real estate market was going crazy, and we had issues with rent prices going up. So our team was under pressure. We needed to create more money. And when we're a bicycle shop at the end, we can only sell a bicycle at a certain price. If a bike is €1,000, depending on exchange rate, it's 4,000 dirhams, so 4.5 or 5,000. But it was really difficult for us, and it was really where we almost lost our showroom here, because there was too many people wanted that showroom, and we almost moved out. And but it's like a bike ride. Sometimes you really feel like you're down and you can't do any more, and then maybe you say, listen, you know what, let me take that one more corner and look again, and maybe it flattens out a bit, or you have a bit of tailwind, or you just go around that corner and you get, for some reason, you get some energy again, and you make it work. And I had a lot of responsibility as a business owner. It's you, but as well it's my family, it's my daughter, it's my team. They rely on me that I make it happen, and luckily we could make it happen. And now looking back at 22 years, I think it's a fantastic journey we had, and I'm grateful as well. You know what I mean? It fills me with a lot of joy and a lot of gratefulness to all the people who have been with me on the ride and who have supported us. It's a very nice story to look back, and especially if something works out. And I always feel like when our business is doing well, it is nice for the country. It has a benefit. You know, it's not only the money. It is really the people. If you see, you were out this morning, and I was out this morning, seeing hundreds of people on their bikes.
So many cyclists. It's amazing.
I come home with a smile every time I'm out there. Yeah, and I think, listen, you've been part of this. You've been part of creating this, and I wish for everyone really having a journey and having a purpose in life like this. When you find this, it's very good.
What's really interesting to me is the cycling culture in this country is unlike anything I have ever experienced.
Yes.
In any country I've ridden in, it's nothing like. There are so many cyclists, and they're so connected, and everyone's so friendly.
Yes.
And I'm just like, wow. Obviously, you got to see this happen little by little, from no one riding bikes to now what we're experiencing today.
I think it is because a lot of people, or almost every one of us, is coming as an expat.
Right.
Yeah? So we're leaving home. First of all, you have a different mindset. As a person leaving home, you're a bit more adventurous. And then you land here and you're alone. And suddenly you need to make friends. You need to go out there, and you need to be.
And then, what better way through fitness, right?
Yes, to fitness and to sports. And you know how it felt when you arrived. And a lot of people say, listen, I know how it feels to be the new guy in the group. And I know from our cycling club in Germany, or from other clubs where people ride since the school days, since their junior days, they're riding with each other. So it's very difficult sometimes to come into a kind of closed community and be the new guy in a club of 20, 30, 40, 50 riders who knew each other since ever, and everybody knows its place on the ride where they ride. But here I think everybody is very welcoming, and that's what I enjoy. And I like the Dubai and the UAE mix of people coming together, people obviously from the UAE, from India, from all countries around the world, and how we find this common connecting point and share the passion. I have a lot of local friends. We don't speak much, but we really respect each other. We really like each other because I know the way they ride and what kind of person they are. They take their turn.
Right.
They're social. They help each other. We are racing each other, but still it's all nice, and we're connecting on a sports level, which is fantastic.
That's amazing. Okay, clearly you're a very fit guy.
Thank you.
I'm seeing this in front of me. I'm wondering, what level has your fitness and cycling actually brought into your business? Because I know your business is cycling. And so have you felt like there was ever a time where if you weren't really taking care of your health, your fitness, that kind of the business was suffering, or not really?
Yes, I think it's important to be physically fit as a business owner. That's what you see with a lot of CEOs and a lot of people around the world. I think it becomes way more important. Obviously, cycling is my business, and without cycling, without the physical and mental toughness you get from sport, I think I wouldn't have been able to survive the business. I think this gives credibility when you're physically fit. I enjoy it. I think it's really, I can understand why other people who are very busy would as well put more busyness in their life by going out for a sprint, because for me it's really super refreshing. I like the physical aspect of it. I think it's good to test stuff, to know, and to talk to people about something really you like. And I'm really a kind of as well geeked out when it comes to all the testing equipment, all the latest nutrition, the latest bike tech, and so on. And this is nice.
I mean, you can tell just by your bike shop alone that you like that stuff.
Thank you. And a high performance center,
right.
and all of the things with GBO mice, with saddle pressure mapping, with SmartFit, with all of these tools we're using to test athletes, to see what's really the latest and greatest. This is the mission for Wolfi, is to bring the best and the latest and greatest equipment to our customers. I think it's quite important for us to have a selection of products where we feel we do a pre-selection on the market and bring the best for our customers, that they can come to Wolfi's one-stop shop, one-stop solution, and we will present them with the best opportunity or the best options of buying the best and latest equipment. And we sometimes go to quite an extent. We are now with over 65 brands.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot of effort, if you look at all our bike brands. And we chose the bike brands because they're good quality, but at the same time we understood that every person is different. Right. So your body composition is different, maybe your arm lengths, your torso lengths, your
femur and everything,
femur and everything like this. And with all this information, we know you need this kind of bike. Right. Yeah, and we take with every bike we have a company from Germany, from my hometown, Freiburg, which is SmartFit, and we take a measurement of a person, and we measure your body, and then we have all the data of all the bikes in the system. So we would know your arm length, your torso, your inseam, and so on. And then we look with our database, with AI, and we look at what is the best matching bike. So maybe you come in and you want to buy, let's say, a Scott or a Cervelo, and we say, hey, it's really maybe better you go with a Colnago, because the geometry really fits you better, and you should go for this model. Or you maybe need something a bit more with a shorter stack and reach, or a longer reach and a shorter stack, and so on. And we have as well the solution then for you, or what kind of wheels you want, what kind of pedals.
It's really looking out for the rider's best interests.
Yes, correct. Even with shoes, that we're with so many different shoe brands that we say, okay, we found that sometimes there's an opening. Let's see what's the best solution for that opening when somebody has a very narrow foot or has a very flat feet and so on. So we find different insoles, and it's just fun. And for us it's really fun to be playing
like
around. It's a puzzle, and being in the position that a lot of companies around the world love our story. We've been voted by GCN as one of the best shops in the world.
I was going to mention that.
Thank you. And I think a lot of companies, when we approached them, said, hey, we would love to work with you, and we would love your products in our store. And they said, hey, we're super happy that you reach out, and we want to always bring the latest and greatest to our customers.
And what I really appreciate about that as well is, at least when you go to a lot of bike shops, it's like they're just trying to sell you something and just trying to make a profit. Here it seems like you're not trying to make a profit, you're trying to genuinely serve the person.
I think it comes automatically. I always felt when we're looking genuinely after our customers, and we make sure that they really get the best equipment, is will lead to a sale. And it sounds, maybe if we introduce cycling to someone and say, this is really a great sport, and you really should come out to Medan or Al Watba or wherever to come for a ride, you need a bike. And if we then help you to find the right bike, and it could be a beginner bike because you're a beginner, then we do trade-ins, we do pre-loved bikes, we see what is just in your state of life and maybe what you can spend or where you feel you are, we can help you. We want to give you good advice, but we're in this position that we rather feel like we're a friend and we really want to help you. And this was something we were doing since the last 22 years. None of our sales team is on commission. That's maybe a bit of a trade secret, I don't know, but it's important to us. I never wanted that somebody feels like
they need to make a sale.
They need to make a sale to be pushed to make that sale, and that's maybe the only time somebody would be in trouble, if we feel like, hey, you sold him something, or they sold the lady or the man something where it doesn't really match. Why would we do that? And I think the team understands that purpose and understands our idea that we want to be a good partner and a success manager for our customers. And I hope this if you feel it, I'm glad that it really works, and this 100%. Is really the mission we have.
100%. So I'm actually kind of curious. You mentioned a few things. I want to dial back a little bit. Can you tell me about your journey into leading such a big team? Because starting by yourself, and now you're leading 150 people. That's a big journey. Like, was there any stop along the way where you're like, wow, am I doing something wrong? I need to learn about leadership. I don't know what I'm doing. Any mistakes you made there?
Yes. I think you always learn, and I think a mistake is only when you stop improving, then it becomes a mistake, or it's a failure. When you stop trying, then it's over. Yeah, but if you build on your learnings, I think that's important. I think the expansion and the partnership with Abu Dhabi and with the royal family of Abu Dhabi to say, listen, how can we help to grow the business all over the UAE? I think that was a big step for us, where we expanded into Al Ain, into Abu Dhabi, Al Khornish. We have now different branches. We have the Gulf Multisports, which is a very successful company, which was in the UAE for the last 10 years. We acquired the company in order to help them to grow further. We do events like Abu Dhabi Marathon, Trias, amongst many others. So give people the opportunity to participate in events. We have the Wolfi Cycling Academy, which is really an unbelievable. We had last week a meeting, and it's really an unbelievable project.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
I saw last year for the Wolfi Cycling Academy, didn't Tadej Pogacar come?
Yes.
Yeah, that was amazing.
We have sometimes some of the riders come to schools. It was a project with Alda, and they come around whenever they have the opportunity. And we have the Fab Cycling Festival, where we do big events to bring more people on bikes. But seeing that moment when kids ride their bike for the first time,
it's such a good feeling.
Unbelievable.
It's the biggest smile on their face.
It's fantastic. You know what I mean? It's such an achievement. And we have this every day when we have this cycling academy running. We have some amazing people running this academy. We have the high performance center. So we have so many different categories now in the business. It's sometimes a problem if you have, before we had 30, 40, 50 people. So you have every day, maybe you have time to speak to one person, a little bit more personal. Now with 150 people, that's a bit difficult. And that's something maybe sometimes a bit tough, but at the same time, I think it's nice if we can see we reach now people in a lane, we bring it to Abu Dhabi, we spread the word. Is it I would love to be there in every location every day, which is difficult. Maybe I need some cloning technology, but at the same time, with the expansion, I think we open up the opportunity for a lot of our staff to be managers of branches, to really expand. And I think that was maybe from a cultural point, from a staff perspective, it was difficult when we were only the shop in Dubai. I think the shop was a very solid house with a solid roof on top, and it was clear who was in which position. And then I think with the expansion and with the partnership, we kind of blew that roof off the building and built something completely new, and have now 12 different business units. And I think there was a lot of opportunity, and I think this is as well where the young generation looks for opportunity. And I think Wolfi's, if I would say, there's a few companies around the world in the cycling business who really can offer an unbelievable opportunity. I think we're the one, and we're still expanding, we're still improving, we're looking for the best and most passionate people in the industry, and we're always looking for people to help us to be the best.
What are you most proud of?
From a business perspective, I said once
business,
before.
Let's say life.
First of all, my daughter. I think my daughter, my wife. I think this is something very special that I found them. I think this is good. The decision to come to buy and come to the UAE, I think that's a big risk, and I'm glad really that it worked out that way. I'm proud of all my team, and I'm really take a lot of joy to see how people flourish in the team, and being out there on the cycle tracks in the UAE and seeing that people enjoy this so much and hearing all these stories. I think it's the little things wins. When you meet with someone and they say, you know what, you don't remember me, but you sold me a bike a couple of months ago, a couple of years ago, and it really changed my life, and I'm feeling so much better about myself, and so on. I think this is nice. I think we really have an opportunity. Again, I'm grateful for this opportunity to really touch so many people on my journey, on my ride, and take them with us, and make them fall in love with cycling. Is fantastic.
You didn't expect to be here.
No.
Where did you expect that you would be?
You know, I mean, sometimes you keep going and you make a decision.
One day at a time, or?
Yeah. You know, I mean, I heard the other days, I think, don't make always right decisions, but make your decisions right. So you make a decision, and do you know if it works? Yes or no? You don't know. But you know what? Put your effort in and make this decision every day. Try to make them better and try to make them right each and every day you're at work. And this is how we approached it. I knew it was a challenging decision to come here. There were ups and downs, and some rain, some wind, some tailwind, some headwind, some climbing, like you have in life and you have on a bike ride. But I'm glad that it worked out like this, and yeah, you take it day by day. I never really had the plan to have 150 staff, to have an events company, have a kids academy. I think it
to
comes
be merged with the royal family.
Yes, that is obviously a dream come true. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's something where
Every entrepreneur's dream.
yes, and especially I feel like because it was a passion investment, it was a passion driven, and I can truly say for the 100% for the right reasons. It was very important for me that the partnership was not an adventure capital company who comes in and drives the revenue. Hey, you need to sell this and this and this. The passion of the leadership, which I think is fantastic. Yes, and for making the UAE the best, healthiest and happiest country in the world.
I think they're succeeding.
Yes, and you can see all the things we've done in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, with the sports councils, the work they put in, and it's a absolutely. And I had the pleasure to meet a lot of the people from the leadership, and it's a truly pure mission and passion for the people in the country, and this is fantastic.
And you can tell it really shows when you're in another country. You can see like how the leadership kind of comes down into the people, and it's maybe not that fantastic. But here, you can see everything is ordered. Everything is amazing. Like everyone's healthy or trying to be healthy, and it's all just structured well, and they clearly care for their people.
Yes,
and you can really appreciate that.
And we're so happy to be part of it, to be chosen, to be part of that vision and mission. Couldn't have been better.
Right, that's amazing. Let me ask you, because clearly you've built this amazing business up. I'm wondering, because as an entrepreneur myself, this can be a challenge. How did you balance the work and the family and the fitness and like all of these things just in life?
Yeah, and I mean, I think the good thing is for me, and I have quite a pure life, I would call it, yeah. So Wolfi is completely aligned. This is one. That is you. Everything I've ever done in the last 20, or I would say 30 plus years. This is everything I've invested in, and I'm very clear with my intentions for my team. I want my team to be, every one of the team to be as successful as they can.
Right.
I'm happy that my wife is so supportive. That's daughter.
Amazing.
I think sometimes I feel like I missed out there a little bit, that I was a lot at work, and it needed some years of my life where I really had to push really hard and was very focused. And even now I'm working more or less 7 days a week, and that my wife gives me that freedom and keeps me protected from other things, which I don't have to do at house. Yes, I think she knows. She loves cycling herself. She's riding more times a week than I do.
Really?
Because I like to go to the gym as well to do this. And but she rides a lot, and she loves the sport, and she understands how important it is for me and how important it is for the nation and for what we stand for as Wolfis. But yeah, sometimes it's not easy. But at the same time, if it's so clear and you have such a clear mission and a clear purpose, I think purpose in life is important.
Right.
And hearing all these stories about the success and about all these events and stuff we create, I think it's nice, and that keeps me motivated, and I hope for many more years.
Let me ask you a fun question.
Yes.
What's your goal on the bike right now?
I haven't won the Sunday sprint for a while, so I'm working on this. But you know, when there's a young generation, I'm 54, and I can feel that there is a young generation who is pushing hard. So I'm more of an age category athlete, but you know, enjoying it, staying safe, I think that's important. I want to go back to France and Italy to climb some of the mountains, which I haven't climbed yet. Yeah, so that would be nice.
Even like you didn't kind of explore around while you were in that
Not all
area?
of them. So Mont Ventoux, other Tourmalet I did last 2 years ago, and so on. But I think it's just epic to be there, be at the event, and climb some of these epic mountains. Do some cycling there. Belgium classics, to see all of it, but sometimes it's difficult with all the work and all the things I want to achieve here in the business. Finding sometimes the time is challenging.
What is it that you still want to achieve? Because I feel like you're at such a, obviously this is like, you know, you're kind of, you always have a vision for more. So what is it that's more? Because you're already at a very awesome place.
Yes, thank you. And seeing the team grow would be nice, and seeing that people take, and I can pass on what I know and pass this on, and then see how they take it to another level. And they take now what the young generation knows, which I don't know, where I didn't grow up with certain things, And seeing this, and sometimes it's already happening, or it's happening a lot, that I have an idea and I give it to some of my team members.
And you just see something
and they
amazing.
come up with something so much better, yeah.
Wow.
And I think this is nice, and I can see, listen, you know what? I'm building a next generation of leaders. So now we have people from 20 to 30, from 30 to 40, from 40 to 50, 50 plus. We have a few people in the company. So I think we have now 4 generations or 4 decades of people.
Wow.
And giving the young generation a purpose, passing on the values we had. That's maybe the most important thing now. You know, when I realized that with 54, there's a few years left in the tank, yeah. But now it's the next generation.
More than a few.
Yes, but you know that there's a young generation coming, and I tell it to them. You know, we have this Wolfgang and the kind of the wolf pack, what we call it the Wolfgang, because that was my given name by my parents. And we said, listen, now the guys between 35 and 45, you're the strongest and most experienced wolf in the gang, yeah. So you need to take the lead now, yeah. It's not the old guys, it's not the 50 plus. We can give some advice to you, but now you need to take this to the next level. And I think seeing this happening, that they really take it and they really take ownership and they take this to the next level, and even to a level which I didn't expect that it could be, and growing cycling in the GCC and seeing more people and especially kids on the bike, that's a legacy project. You know, I see it now. If we start now with kids who are 3, 4, 5 years old, I hope I change their life today. And I introduce a sport, and hopefully they fall in love, and hopefully when they are 50 or 60 and I'm already gone, they say, you know what? And they speak to their grandchildren. You know, when I grew up, there was this Wolfi cycling academy, and there were these guys, and they showed me how to ride. And maybe you pass this on to your children or to your grandchildren, and what you learned. And hopefully we help you to live a healthier and happier life by introducing you to the sport early days. And hopefully we can fix things or reduce obesity and all the mental issues and so on, which are there. So I think this is something, leaving a legacy behind. I think that's nice. And with the cycling academy, with the events company, with the businesses we built all around the UE, with the vision of the leadership to make the UE a very special place, I think we're on the right track there.
What have been the core values that you have brought into this business? Mm-hmm. Like what? From you personally, like what values do you have that you said, because obviously you and the business are like one, you're connected. Yes. What have you I cannot compromise this?
Yes, I think we're very passionate about it, about the business and sharing the love with people, the love for cycling with our customers is important. Integrity is important for us, so doing the right thing so even nobody's looking. Have the customer really in mind. I think the customer focus, exceptional customer focus is the second pillar of our business. The first one is get clarity and get alignment, get all the details, understand what the customer needs. But then the next real stepping stone is, listen, have the customer in mind. Make sure you're really truly helping him with the repair, with the right helmet, with the right pair of shoes, with the right bicycle, with the right guidance, where to ride, when to ride, how to train, and all of this. Maybe introduce them to an event that they have an aim, and make sure that we stay with them and make sure that their cycling journey is successful. These are a few things which I'm really, and the hospitality, make them feel welcome, make it seamless. The whole experience should be like a friendship rather than a retail.
Actually, I've noticed that as well. I think every employee that I have talked to, whether at the Abu Dhabi locations or here, even as I'm like making friends with them, I'm like, you know, you don't really expect it. Normally when you walk into a shop, it's just like, you're there, you buy something, you leave. But here it's like you're building a relationship, you're building a connection.
It's important for us. And I think first of all, it's important for the staff to build a relation with the customer. We ask them to follow up with the customer, make sure the customer is there, is still engaged and still happy with the product, or they need any more advice. I think that builds a relationship with the customer. And I think we all love to have good relationships. I think that's something quite important for us, and I think this is as well good for the team. Yeah, we have a campaign. We say bring a friend, and that is a campaign where we say maybe we get you into cycling, and in 6 months you come back and say, listen, you know what, I love it, and it's really good. It really changed my life. Then we say, you know what, we passed this on to you, and now it's your duty to bring a friend. You need to introduce. You need to spend a little bit of time. Maybe your brother, your sister, your friend, your whoever, you know, maybe your work colleague, pass it on. And I think it's really like almost like the fire. You need to ignite somebody else.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to implement with others. First of all, obviously on our sales floor, but again with each and every customer, say, listen, you know how it feels. And maybe 6 months ago, you didn't ever think that you would fall in love with cycling so much. But now, I'm sure you have someone in your life where you feel he should feel the same. He should feel as good as I feel when I come back from a bike ride. So think about it, and maybe you bring him here, you take him on a ride, and you pass this on. And I think it's a gift we've given you, and you have discovered in your life.
Pass it on.
And now it's important. It's not just, it's almost like we say it's a duty. It's not just you could or not, it's something where you have an obligation to do so.
That's interesting. I like that. Let me ask, okay, what has been the hardest thing that you've done on the bike in terms of either challenges, climbs? Like, was there any?
Cape Epic.
Okay.
I did the Cape Epic, and
how was that?
It was very hard. Yeah, it was very hard. I didn't actually, funny enough, I didn't actually know what I'm getting into. I had a friend at the time who was a pilot with Emirates, and he was a former UCI World Cup mountain biker many years back. And he called me and said, hey, Wolfi, he's a German friend. And he called me and said, you know what, I played this lottery for this event in South Africa. And I need a partner. So it's a race where you ride with two riders. And I said, okay, it's riding in Cape Town and around Cape Town. It's really nice. And I said, oh, might go for a bike ride. And I said, okay, yes, I'm coming with you.
You didn't know what you were signing up for.
And I had no idea, yeah. And then I kind of, there was not much information, yeah, about this, yeah. And then I found out that it's maybe kind of the Tour de France, the amateur Tour de France of mountain biking, that it was 966 kilometers.
Wow.
In 9 days. It was 18,000 meters of elevation.
That's crazy.
From Neisner to Cape Town. And it was at that it is still the longest event, the longest Cape Epic ever produced. And after that, they reduced the distance by about 300 kilometers for the whole event. So they went from 966 to about 600, 700 kilometers. So I actually had a nice conversation last summer during the Tour de France with the organizer at the time, Kevin Fermack, who was the organizer of the event. He said, okay, this was the longest ever epic, and I said, okay, good. I did it once, and I'm done. I did the longest one, which is fine. But yeah, very hard, and very. I mean, I'm a bit risk adverse as well, because I don't want to risk my life, and I don't want to do this. But the Cape Epic was really an experience which is fantastic. Yeah, especially if we have done it. And everybody who's into mountain biking, it's just an unbelievable country. And the places they took us through, you're normally not allowed to ride because it's private farms and they have organized this, and it's an unbelievable event. So if you're into something like that, it's amazing. But it was, at the time, it was just so hard. And I remember over the finish line, first of all, I cried because I was so exhausted.
That's how you know it was really hard.
And then my wife came with the camera, and I filmed, and I said, Wolfi, if you ever think of doing this again, I tell you now, not a good idea. Because sometimes, after a few weeks, a few months, a few years,
that wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. And I said, no, Wolfi, I tell you now, it is that bad, and you shouldn't do it again.
So and now you remember.
Yes, I remember.
Do you ever think about that time and think about the mental resiliency and relate it to like running a business and coming to where you are today?
Yes, 100%. I think cycling is a good comparison to life, and it's sometimes hard, and I think doing hard things is important. I like to listen to podcasts and a lot about neuroscience, Andrew Hohmann, and he's speaking about a lot of these connections you make, and deliberately doing hard things and doing things you don't really like to do strengthens your mind and strengthens the thing that you're capable of doing stuff. And cycling obviously is tough. Every time you're on a bike ride and one of the guys is accelerating and oh my God, can I do this? And then I have to push again, and you push again, and you in that sprint, and you push yourself, and you even getting out, waking up and showing up every day. I think this learning to show up is something which is super important. And if you make a commitment with your mates and you do this, the ride we do on before Friday and now Sunday, I do this now since 22 years. And the other day I was on the ride, and I thought, okay, but 22 years, I do this about 45 times a year, roughly. That means I did it 1,000 times.
Wow.
And I thought, that's a lot. And normally we ride an average of 100 kilometers. I thought, okay, that means you cycle 100,000 kilometers.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And I thought, that is crazy, yeah?
That is crazy.
But showing up 1,000 times to do something for the community and ride with your mates, because they know you're coming, you're committed. Right. And I think this is something, a big a big advantage in any business is doing it.
It's just doing the work.
Doing the work. And that's for a lot of people, they talk about doing the work, they're thinking about doing the work, they're posting about doing the work, and
It's mere talk.
Yes.
I think there's a proverb. It's all hard work brings a profit, but mere talk leads to poverty.
Yes.
And it's just, I always think about, like, hard work will always bring a profit, but it's just, you got to do it.
Yes.
And there's something about cycling that's just like, you get on the bike and you're just gonna push. You're just gonna do it, and that's what I love about the sport. That everywhere you go, every cyclist you see, they're always pushing out of the comfort zone.
Yes.
And I'm seeing it relates to business as well.
Yes.
It relates to kind of every part of life. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Other sports, I think, as well with cycling. Obviously, you have always maybe a gear you could go smaller, and you can push a little bit, squeeze a bit more out of yourself, and then again you could go a bit slower. But until you really kind of fall off, and when you go a climb and you have an extra gear and you shift lower and push, and it's such a long period of time, and it is really good training for resilience and for your mindset to push through. Absolutely.
What do you think has been the biggest mindset shift for you in terms of, let's say, in terms of cycling, and also just kind of relating that back to building this business? Was there a mindset shift that just made something?
No, I think it comes as well when you're getting older. Yeah, when you're like in your 20s to 30, you learn a lot of things. You have other things are important. Sometimes it's really building a business, and kind of you have to the constraint of making money, making this work, and then you maybe from 30 to 40, you're a little bit older. You see things a little different, and then a different decade of your life from maybe from 40 to 50, and then now I'm lucky in a 50 to 60. And I think these things change your mind. I think you have more experience. You see things a little easier. That is a big shift in my how I approach things, how I work with my team. I think it gives you more confidence when you know you can look back at a bit of success. I think the first years coming to Dubai, I was very tense. Yeah, and maybe people didn't see it, but it was very difficult.
It's a big risk.
It's a big risk.
Like,
yeah.
But I mean, those who don't take risks don't see anything.
But it's hard at the time. It's really hard, and it's very difficult to appreciate. And there were many moments as well. I know that, for example, whenever I met someone at any event, at any party, within a few minutes, I had this conversation about bikes.
How did you do that? How did you always shift
I'm a master in that. Give me, and I'm just trying, and it was simply trying to make people aware that I have a business. Yeah.
I mean, that's really smart though. That's like building awareness.
But it was,
is the biggest
I think, I believe it could have been annoying for my family as well, that I was constantly in that mode of performing, and promoting, which was needed.
Of course.
And I think as well with the greater good in mind, which maybe at that time was, at that time it was survival. And later it became more of a passion and a mission and striving. But at that time it was hard. And I think as well sometimes in interactions with people, maybe they didn't feel it because they didn't know me, but I know I had a lot of pressure and a lot of even not sleeping well and having I don't want to call it nightmares, but having today you would call it maybe anxiety or just pressure. Yeah?
It's just like being a man and not performing to your best.
You need to. And it's sometimes it's good. I learned so much, and this pressure of needing to perform. There was no plan B and C and D. There was, I needed to make it work. You need to do this. And you need to work as hard as you can.
To make it work.
Make it work. And make it work. And the next day again, and the next day again. And then it's like almost training. Yeah. Whatever feels so hard now when you're riding a bike, and then
6 months, a year.
6 months, it feels easy. When you do, and I see it with customers every day. They said, "Oh my God, I 10 kilometer, almost fell off, I almost fainted." And then you speak to them a couple of months later. So I did 100 kilometer. And think, "Oh my God, remember?" And they said, "Yes, I remember." And I assume it's such a change. And again, I think cycling is fantastic to understand. And unfortunately, if you don't push, you're not going to grow. And I think it's biology. If you push hard, if you look at plants, you look at anything, if they live in an environment which is challenging, they get stronger. And muscles, they need to get overloaded to get stronger. And it's just what it is. I would be happy to have it invented, but that's just how the planet works. And I think if you overload a system, a plant, an animal, a human, your mind, you grow and adapts.
You need the discomfort in order to grow. Do you think that it sounds like you already know this, but the pressure and the stress and all of that, it kind of shaped you.
Yes.
So Did it kind of like, okay, I like to liken this into like you get thrown into a fire and there are some bad qualities that get burned off and you're left with the gold. What were those bad qualities that got burnt off?
It's a good question. I didn't have any bad.
Nothing. I've been perfect.
No, what was? I mean, again, I think it came with age that they kind of disappear. You find yourself, and you. What helped me a lot, and this is maybe the last couple of years where podcasts became so much, and it's really became a good friend of mine, and looking into things, and I use Instagram and all of these tools today, and YouTube. And for some reason, my feed, I think, I have quite a healthy feed.
That's good.
With the information I'm getting bombarded with. But I think this is good. And my podcast and all of the things I'm listening to, the stories of other people. That's why I love to do podcasts, because I think it's a nice story to share.
It's nice to share your story.
Yes. And I think it's so good to listen to people and learn so much. And there's so many fantastic stories out there. And over the years, I really got to appreciate this more. And again, I think age, for everybody who's not there yet, listen, you're not there yet because it's not yet your time. And if you're 20, you have a certain level of experience, and it's fine. You're just in that space where you learn and take it all in, and be relaxed. I mean, you have another 60 years to live, yeah. And now take the 20s, do your thing.
And if you cycle even longer.
Yes, and maybe. But then you're in your 20s, and if you're in your 30s, you're in your 30s, and you do what you do in this time. And then you get a bit older, and you get a bit more mature, and you learn a lot. Don't stop learning. Don't think you know it. I think the more you understand,
pride, you know.
Yes, the more you know, I think, about certain things, the more you know you know nothing. Yes, yeah. And I think that was maybe a good learning. Yeah, that I. Again, it's funny enough when you look back when you're young, sometimes how stubborn you are for certain things, and later on you see, okay, it wasn't really as important. But at the same time, it was something which got me here, and every experience I had got me to where I am today. I'm very happy. I'm very grateful every day that I'm where I am, that everything works so well. But yeah, I think every phase of your life, and sometimes you might not be able to see it now, but it will get you somewhere. And if you work hard and you're committed and you try to commit yourself and give 100% effort, I think you will get somewhere.
All right, last question for you. What is the best piece of advice that you have received that has, in a way, brought you to where you are today, that you would give to someone else?
I mean, being obsessed is not a bad thing, and being obsessed about the little things and making details. Sure they really happen and doing them, yeah. I think that is one of the key things, yeah. Making sure to surround yourself with good people as well.
Your network has helped.
Yeah, I think that's important. I mean, you want to be, they say you become the average of the 5-6 people you surround yourself with. But then I always say as well, be a good person for the other 5 or 6. Yeah. So and make this a conscious decision. It's not just coming by itself to be a good person. I think a good person is something you're in charge of your own life, and we have one of our rules in our business is you're in charge for your own experience and for your own development. Don't push this to somebody else. And that was something I learned coming to Dubai. Coming to the UAE, I was suddenly on my own with my wife, but I needed to take a lot of responsibility very quickly for my business. Back home, I had a much better support structure, and here I suddenly was alone, and that was a good learning. So take responsibility and show up.
Rather than making
There were more than one good tip, but I think these are really important things for me. Yeah, showing up and doing the right thing, I think, is important. Yeah, give 100%. I have it written on one of my bikes. I wrote, ask yourself, are you really giving 100%?
I think we like to almost convince ourselves like we are, like we're doing our best. But here's something that hit home for me recently. Not even recently. This was a few years ago. I had an acting background, and one time I prepared this monologue to bring to my professor, and I performed it, and he told me, what was that? Like, that wasn't that great. And I was like, I tried my best. And he just said, sometimes your best isn't good enough. And that kind of taught me an important lesson. Like, sometimes you got to do better.
Very good.
And that's kind of what brings us to, sometimes you just learn you got to do better. And consistency is
Yes.
what actually allows you to do better, right?
Yes.
Consistency is the prerequisite
Yes.
for excellence.
Yes.
Sounds like you've been consistent.
Yes.
And that,
I think consistency is something I'm quite good at. Yeah. But again, what you took from this interaction with the professor, you take discouragement, or you really and if you go back now, was he right? Did you really put in 100? Yes, very good. And this is maybe the best learning. And you know what? Be thankful about that learning.
Of course.
I read the other day, or I heard in a podcast where somebody said I gave something like an essay, and he just sent it back to me. I said that's not worth my time even to correct it. Yeah. And then I made it again, and I sent it, and then he started really correcting it. And I said, listen, the first thing you sent me was not worth my time. And I think that's important. And this is, if you take from that lesson, next time you prepare and you really ask yourself, are you giving 100%? And we are very quickly to sell ourselves something which is maybe a shortcoming and a shortcut we're taking, and trying to convince ourselves that this was really the best effort. And that's why I wrote it on the bike. Said, listen, ask yourself really, are you giving 100%? Yes or no? And if not,
give more.
Push, give more. It's like on a bike ride. That's why it's on my bike, and I'm looking down.
That's smart.
Trying to hold on. It's okay. Ooh, yeah.
That's smart.
Yes.
I love it. Well, thank you for, I appreciate the time that we could take together and learn from you. This has been an amazing experience, and I'm hoping that your story, obviously an amazing story, can encourage whoever is listening, because you never know who's on the other side, right?
No, perfect. And if your listeners are coming to the UE, always come and join us for a ride. We have many locations all around the UE. We're happy to take people out on a ride and have a chat while we are riding our bikes.
Amazing.
And keep up the good work. I think what you're doing is really fantastic. And I think spreading the word is what we can do, and getting people on the right track.
I mean, I learned a lot from you, so that's helpful.
Thank you.
Awesome. And for those listening, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll catch you next time on another Ride with Purpose.